In this video, I will show you how to create your own custom buttons to use inside Widget Blueprint. So let's dive in. First, let's create Widget Blueprint. We need second option, Widget Blueprint, pop-up, let's say UI. And open that, we'll use that later. Now we need create button. Button is as well blueprint, but we need to go here first. User widget, common user widget, button base, continue. Yeah, for example, you can use loud button, and you need to select this one, and then select again, name it button 1, for example. You can open that as well. Okay. Another thing what we need is material. So M for master material, and let's say call it just UI. Here we can open that. Straight away we can create material instances which we'll use for the button. So mi button 1, and from same one I will create button 1 pressed. So we will change color of the button. In this case I will just swap textures. Okay, so that's fine. Let's go back to material. In here we need to change to user interface and opaque to translucent. That's it in these settings. Now we need texture. I've got this pack, nice pack from the real marketplace, but you can use like your own or buy as well. So here's a bunch of buttons. Okay, which one to use? Let's see this. So I think like this one is normal, this one is pressed, but I think like this one is kind of cool looking, and we've mixed this one, so we definitely will see when I pressed on the button. But I will use just only one, and another one I will add in an instance. So to use in an instance later, so let's create parameter, name it texture. That's fine. We can straight away add it to the color. So this will be our button. Then of course we need to remove background. So this texture, and make sure you have it as a user interface. It's not super important, but if like for example here it's not power of 2, so like for example 256 or 512, so then you need to set it, because engine may cry about that. So if you have that, then we can check where is our transparency, and we see that black and white, right? So this is our alpha. What I want as well, I want a little bit control more of that. So instead of directly connecting to opacity, I will go for the multiply, and I will create parameter opacity, and maybe set it to 0.8. So let's say like you can put maximum 1, so it means you won't be able in a instance to go below 0 and above 1. So it's additional control for your opacity in the texture, and that's it. So we finished here. Save. Now we can, let's go back to that folder. So this is our material instances, right? So we have one, and as you can see, this is our parameter. So we can totally make it disappear or fully opaque. So for now, probably 0.8 is fine. So here I don't want to change texture, but in this one where it's pressed, I want to come here and go to the folder of button and change this to this texture. So it definitely will be visible. Okay, we have that, save. Now to the button. In a button, you don't need to add anything like canvas, overlay, because whatever you will add, it will make button disappear. And that's it. So don't do that. Just click on this button and you have two parameters, not parameters, material. So one is for normal button look, and another one is for clicked and or basically when you hover over with mouse. So we going back to our material instances, so button 1, and then press this outline, and that's it. So before this update, it wasn't working, so it was looking like this in editor, but in the game it was reset back to yellow, for example. So it was broken, but I tested it and it works now. Really cool. Text will leave as it is, because we will update it in another widget. Yeah, okay, going back here. So we can add canvas. What I like to do is basically group stuff, especially with more complex UIs. And I'm using overlay kind of like a folder. So anchoring on a full screen, so it goes in the full. Now I'm just like removing that, and we see a green frame, so it's full screen. Okay, and now I will add another overlay. Maybe later. For now it's fine. What I want as well is tag box. Yeah, tag box. It kind of helps you to keep everything organized, so you can orient it horizontally or vertically. In my case, I want vertically. It's kind of cool for something like buttons. So let's say like if I will put button here, and let's say I will put like that, right? Just for demonstration. And if I will duplicate now this button, you see, they basically stacking like that automatically. And the cool stuff is you can put spacing in between really easily. Like, let's say on the bottom, 10 pixels or 50, you see, and then it will stay like that. So this stack box helps like really nicely. Let's for now delete this. There's one problem with a button. So for example, like we have like width and height, right? Width we can control. So if it goes more than it's by default, right? So by default it says 0, but there is some number, right? It's definitely not 0. So if we're going more than that, what's set by default, so it stays. So it's fine, it's working. But with minimum height, that's a problem. Look, if I will put it higher, boom, it resets to 18. So, but of course, like sometimes you will need different sizes, right? So what we can do is use size box. So drop it to the stack box, and size box only can have one child. So like when we're parenting like that, for example, if I want to duplicate our button, I can. So you will need to duplicate size box together with a button, but size box has these nice parameters. It's like overrides height and width. So for example now, maybe like 360, and here now look, I can control and it stays. So for example maybe 160, something like that. 180, yeah, like that. Oh, one more thing in here in materials. So going back here really quickly, that's why I choose like different textures, really like different colors, so we can see nicely. Outline in a default button goes around the button and not kind of like in the same pixels where button, like original button is. So and this you see like second texture is larger than first one. Yeah, so maybe you want that, so it means like when you will click, your button will grow in size, like depends of course like on this. If you want that, that's fine. If not, for example, I don't want, or maybe like not so much, so I won't control that. And in a button we don't have this control, but we can do that in material. So let's pick texture coordinates, and we have nice this node, not this one, scale UVs by center. let's add this thing. We need vector 2. So it's basically X and Y, right? So it's 2D on the screen, X and Y, vertically, horizontally. So we need two parameters, scale X, scale Y. By default, let's put 1. And instead of adding, we need append. So we're creating, because if you will add, you will just add 1 to 1 and it will be 2. But we want vector 2, so we want like 1 and 1s, like for example, like this, right? But we want as a parameter so we can control in here. So now if we going here and adding two these, organize, save. Now we have these parameters. Let's take this box. There we go. It's better, you see. Now look, these bubbles make it a little bit smaller. See, I can control that a little bit. 1.9, yeah, too small. 5, yeah, something like that. Maybe. Let's see. Okay. Another thing, text on the button. Yeah. So we can change text, but we can change this color and font. Font we can change anyways, but color, for example, right? So maybe with this button, this black, it's not working. What you can do, you can delete it. Bye bye. And yeah, later I will add text. So let's maybe like create another button just to show how it works. So we have two buttons, right? And now instead of button itself, to do this padding, we'll do in the size box, right? So it's basically the same, but just it's better to do in the parent. Or for example, maybe in this case, we already have like enough space, so I don't even need to do this spacing. So that's fine. And now another beauty of a stack box, right? It's now I want text, yeah, and precisely above the buttons. So I don't need again eyeball it. I can just duplicate whole thing, right? And I can delete buttons. So these parameters will stay as they are. Now I'm taking text block, putting into this size box, and like that. See my text now exactly in the middle of the button. And I can even delete that and duplicate, so we have two texts. And it doesn't matter, like for the test we can just say like it's a difficulty levels, yeah, like so it's easy. And we can put like normal. Normal. Whoa. And normal. Cool. And with that, we can change now colors, right? So maybe like something like that. So it's not purely white, but like with some blue tints. And we can change opacity maybe a little bit. Whatever. Of course, we can change font, let's say bigger one. Yeah, fine. If we want, we can add some outline, right? Outline size, if we want, of course. You can adjust maybe opacity of that, like that. Do we want drop shadow, right? Don't know. So if you see it here, yeah, it's actually transparent, yeah, like that. So it adds like kind of like thickness on one side. It depends if you want or not. Maybe like just like that, just like. So yeah. Yeah, why not? Fine. Okay. Yeah, that looks fine. And again, you see this is our screen, right? So it's basically these buttons will be like this size in the middle of the screen. And we now can code, then when we will press, they will have some events, right? So for example, if another device will subscribe, so with pressing of the button, another device will trigger. So we can select button, not that one, yeah, size, like that, but button, yeah, button 1. But better rename it properly, but what tutorial will do. So we have now 2 buttons. What we need is one way to view model, so it's basically out of the widget. Same. Now we using conversion, so we need to convert from this widget button into event. We can do like maximum 6 buttons from the widget, but in our case it's 2, so it's good. We can click here as well straight away. Do button 2. Now we can go here and we select response. Here is same response. And finally, here we need to say that it is in band. So we need to find our buttons. So in this case, button 1, and here is click event. So it's basically when click event happened, we're sending this to the device. So in our case, it will be like pop-up hot device. And what subscribed to that device will get that button 1 is triggered. So it's same here. Going here, second button, and click event. Done. And yeah, everything compiled fine. So it means no problem at all. Let me check. Yeah, that looks good. So now let's find device. In devices, just pop. There's our pop-up with device. Placing it like that. It will be on the top, right? You can scroll just to the bottom. Select here, find your pop-up UI. You can go up. In here, instead of center, we're going center at full, right? Because as you remember, I made this overlay to anchor into full. And it means like it will always stay on the screen. If like it basically will grow. If someone will have like white screen, it will like expand with a white screen. If it will be like smaller screen, it will basically collapse, like basically shrink more. But if you want always, let's say like stay straight in the middle, let's say at this, just as example really quickly. Let's say like I have this super nice image, right? And it's in the middle, right? And I want it to stay in the middle no matter what size, right? It will be. So instead of like trying to shift maybe like that way or something, right? So then in that case, overlay better to anchor here in the center, right? But in my case, this is what I want. Okay. So we have device, we have center at full. Auto display. Yeah, I don't want any trigger. It's just for testing. So on a game start. Or maybe, no, you know what? Yeah, I will add trigger. So then I can see it a few times instead of just like restarting the game. This is my trigger. So when I will stand on this trigger, it will trigger this device. Visible in the game. On the game start. Triggered by player. Activate I don't need, I need to stand on it. Yeah, it's good. So now in this device we need to show, select trigger, and on trigger. Yeah, and how to display, never. So it means like when I will stand on a trigger, it will show me my UI. That's it. And we don't need, for example, here, do any height. If only you want it to close automatically, so then you can put timer. Here is a timeout, for example, like 10 seconds, right? If maybe a person can't select button, like click button, it basically will close automatically. That's sometimes useful, but you don't need to do it here, because whenever you will press one of these two buttons, it will close automatically. It's kind of like always does. One more thing I forgot before starting is in the text, right? When I add a text, see, it's enabled and visibility is visible, right? It needs to be set to not hit testable and self only. In our case, even if we're all children as well, that wouldn't have effect because nothing goes below our text. What this means, if it's visible, it means it's triggerable, if something should be triggered. Because text has no reaction to the mouse, if I will press, for example, here in the middle, we'll try to press on a button, it will be ignored because I'm actually pressing on the text and not on the button itself. So that's why we need to set no hit testable, so it's basically ignore this text. Okay, so now we can launch our session. Okay, let's test it. So we have our trigger, we're coming, and we see our custom buttons, and look how they're glowing, right? Now we're pressing, that would send this click event and something could trigger. I hope this video is helpful to you. Please press that like button and don't forget to subscribe to get notifications about future videos. See you soon!